This is Two Shy Guys a Mile High.
Yeah.
Let's go. Welcome back. Two Shy Guys a Mile High. We got Phil.
Albums.
WWWB.
Hey, you know when Dave Chappelle did that, you know when he had the little frog on the. Welcome back to the WB. That's what I think about when I.
Today on the episode, we're going to be talking about failure, the definition of failure, what you think about failure, and we want to talk about some times where we experienced this and how we bounce back from it.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Woo. That's a topic near dear to my heart right there.
Why you say that?
Man, it's been a year of a lot of failure, man. So like coming to the podcast, doing it, talking about it is something. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut, but I'm not, because this is. I enjoy it, because if without it, man, you're not gonna really move anywhere.
See, the thing with failure is like everybody experiences it, so it's about learning. Like, what did you do during your experience to make sure that you didn't fail again?
For real. Yeah, I feel the same way too, but for me, man, failure is just a beast. And if the more you think about it, you have to fail in life to succeed. So, myself personally, I just know that I had to get better at failing because I was the worst. I just used to just fail and get so upset with myself and think I need to do it perfect every time.
Yeah.
And then just run away from the whole situation, not noticing that the more you get comfortable with failing and the more you get better at failing, the more you start getting successful, because you start learning about stuff that you can apply it for the rest of your life.
I remember this guy had a conversation with us during my time in Illinois, and then he had a saying, and it always stuck with me. It was like, fail early, fail often, fail forward.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Fail fast too. So something like
so you fail early, like anytime when you're doing something, any project, or you're working on a business, or whatever the case may be. The earlier you fail, it propels you to the next point, and it gives you like the knowledge to know what decisions not to make the next time that you come up to an obstacle, so you know how to maneuver to get around the obstacle and achieve the next level or achieve the next step in life.
Yeah, and let's be clear here, we're talking about work and life, not school, because you failed in school, boy. Mama, boy. Hey, you failed in school, it's a wrap.
It is a wrap. And speaking of that, actually, because like I had that same experience, like going into college. Like I know in the early episode I talked about like how I didn't feel like my high school prepared me for college.
Yeah.
So like I got to college and I was in another world. It was like, and then I was going to class, I was doing my work, but for some reason, like I just wasn't giving it the same effort that I knew I could, and I ended up. I got caught up in the hustle, man.
Caught up in the Nipsey. Rest in peace, Nipsey.
R.I.P. man.
But I got caught up in that hustle. So like I had my grades, and I was just like, man, I'm going to classes, I'm doing my work, but it's just not showing on my grades. And I'm like, man, my mom, she hit me. She was like, hey, I'm not playing with you. Like, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? She's like, I'm not playing with you. So I'm like, bro, my first year, but I had a lot going on. I don't make no excuses for anybody. I don't make excuses for myself. I just had a lot going on from, like, my experiences from coming from high school and the stuff I was going through with my son at an early age. It just didn't give me the mindset. So, like, I'm treating school like it was nothing. So I'm like, I'm going to school, but I'm coming home every weekend because I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying, be that active father. I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying, be in my son's life. And he's back in Illinois, and luckily I live an hour and a half away, so I can get back and forth at the drop of a dime. So I'm like, I wasn't putting enough attention into my books and my schoolwork as I feel I could have. So I wasn't propelling, and I failed. But now I'm here because I was like, okay, well, I got to flip that switch.
Gotta flip the switch.
So you just touched on something right there. Like, the circumstances that you were in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you really had to think about it, like, you weren't necessarily failing, right? You were prioritizing something over something else, and I think that's something that people just kind of glaze over. And this year, like, just personally tie back to something that I've been going through personally, man. Like, I would have felt like me not performing to the level I can at work. My new job now I don't transfer jobs since, coming from that place, man, the boy. And 13 years there, and then going to some place like like a tech company, like a Microsoft, right? It's a different experience, right? And so if I would have just judged myself, and I have, on where I felt I should have been a year in versus look at where I've gone. You see what I'm saying? Like, some people would say, "Yo, you haven't failed, bro. Like you've excelled." But in my eyes, like maybe the requirement I put on myself was just to get me to that next level. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to lose y'all there because like it's really one of those things where if you don't understand where you are, like you have to really be self-aware where you are in your life because you might think it's a failure because you didn't achieve that personal goal that you set out for, but you did hit some type of target. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm there now.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I'm not doing it like I felt I should be doing it, or maybe I'm not at the level I feel I should be at now. But if you look at the whole package there, that's a win.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So I have to really judge that and be cognizant of what are the restrictions I'm placing on myself, or am I judging myself too harshly by this criteria and looking at it and saying it's a failure when it's really not, right?
Yeah.
And the thing about failure as well, too, you hit on a lot of important points, is that once you start going through that mode where you're a little bit scared to fail, you kind of hide. You definitely do hide and shy away from opportunities that could be pushing you to go to the next level.
It's uncomfortable.
Because it's uncomfortable.
It's
So,
uncomfortable, man.
and we all like to be our harshest critics, and then knowing that you don't want to fail and deal with the public criticism because you don't want to deal with the self-criticism, it's really debilitating. It'll get you into a negative feedback loop, and it'll take a while to kick back up because I have definitely been there for it, man. You just freeze up.
You stuck.
And when you get stuck like Chuck and freeze up, life just gonna start happening to you. And people make decisions for you, and you feel as though you can't even make decisions for yourself. Everything happens to you, so you need to start taking that power for yourself and doing that.
Control your destiny.
Control your destiny.
But
the thing is, my school said I was failing. You know what I'm saying?
Take him to church, brother.
School said I was failing, but I didn't feel like I was failing in life. So I was like, man, I can do both.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I can do this. I can be successful at school because this, you know what I'm saying? I gotta obtain the knowledge. I know there's a reason why I'm here, and this is part of my plan. So I'm like, okay, I can do both of these things. Like, you know what I'm saying? What person before me? I'm sure people before me were in similar situations that I am, and maybe harder situations. They still excelled and made it out of that.
And you bring up a good point because you are the person that defined your definition of success for yourself.
Yes,
you didn't let school do that to you. So you took them to church right there. You said, hey, I'm still excelling. Like you say I'm failing, but I'm still excelling in life. You definitely hit on some good things right there.
But like when it comes to the criteria, right? It's for me, and I'm just gonna speak as man, I'm 37, G. It was
man.
but I've had some experiences, right? You know what I'm saying? So like, if I don't go through a lot of the things, like let's just say I didn't make that move from Chicago, right? My perspective on life would have been completely different, right? I wouldn't be here, chopping up with my best friends here and being able to deliver this content, you know, whatever this is. I wouldn't have been uncomfortable, you know, or I would have been uncomfortable, and I wouldn't know how to deal with it. Because I came here by myself, man. 2,200 miles, not an hour away driving. You're talking 4-hour flight, 4 days on the road. Like, that's...
You took a leap of faith.
It does. And if I don't, like, I think we talked about this, like, a couple of days ago, P. It's the shots that you don't take that you regret. Not the shots that you take. Every shot that you don't take. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's amazing that how that resonated with me, man. Because I thought about, like, what if I just said, no, I'm not coming out here? Mm-hmm. My life would have been completely different right now.
I got a question for you. I know I've had my own personal struggles just being away from family so long, from going to school and them not being there, going from Denver to Florida for school, and then going from Florida to Washington for a job and being so far away from family. How were you able to deal with failure without having that support system that could help lift you up at the same time? How was that transition, and how was dealing with that?
Do you want me to take? Can I take this real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me take this real quick. I think it came down to a point like growing up in Chicago, man. Like I really have to give credit to Miles, man. Every rep because she really showed me like how to stick with something. You see what I'm saying? Like I know she had failure, bro. Like we talk now, and it's like she's telling me a lot more things because I'm older and I understand it now. And she kept me away from my dad for a reason, right? Like he was just a very toxic person in my life. But I felt like, yo, why are you keeping it from me? Like, what's going on? Like, what's happening over here? And I really didn't understand certain things because I wasn't aware at that point. So to go back to your question, I think I just stopped caring about what people thought. Like, and I felt like if I saw her trying, like, there's no way she's doing this on her part of my language. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's one woman, and I know I'm difficult as a kid growing up, and she's trying to raise a man. She's trying to figure it out.
You difficult now.
I mean, whatever. But you got to be at some point, right? But to really go back to and get to the crux of what you're asking, it comes to a point where you just got to stop worrying about what the criticism could be. Because you haven't even started something yet, and you already take yourself out of that equation. Like, I'm telling you, I've had some failures, man, like where I thought I was doing the best. I'm in here giving it my all, and they're like, no, this is not what we asked you for. Oh, blow to the ego. Getting out of that ego. Once getting out of that ego, that's it. I'm going to leave it at that. Getting out of that ego.
And just to build on that, I feel the same way that you feel. And what I would say is like, you know what I'm saying, I'm from Chicago as well, taking that leap of faith, moving to the, other side of the country. My support system never left. That's how I feel, because, like, you know what I'm saying, I got a tight relationship with a lot of people. When I moved out here in 2012, the technology was just coming. Like, you know what I'm saying, FaceTime, it's basically like you went there with somebody, you know what I'm saying, you can have this conversation as you would if y'all was chopping it up at the crib.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying, you can look at them doing it, so it's like, you know what I'm saying, I feel as though they're still close to me. And it's just like, I can't go and see you, and that hurts me. Like, you know what I'm saying, I just can't go out and be like, okay, let me kick it with some of my, closest homies from back in college, back in high school, back from when I was a shorty, any of that. You know what I'm saying? But I can always hit them up. And I'm good with that, is I always check in and hit people up to make sure, you know what I'm saying, they doing well. And they do the same to me because I got people that really care about me. So I feel like the support system, like I can always talk to it. And I know some people have a different hard time with that. Mm-hmm. Some people have an easier time with that. But, you know what I'm saying, if you got a real genuine bond with close friends, they always reach out to you no matter where you are, you know what I'm saying? And I got a lot of close homies, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody. Y'all know who y'all are, as well as here and there. So it's like...
But go back into the, like WB. Let me ask you a counter question on that, because that was a fantastic question, because I think a lot of people don't understand that, like, it's a process, man. Like, failure is a huge process. And, like, when you really get into a mode of reflection, like, can we talk about just how do you reflect on something that went wrong? Like, what are there things that you like? Do you journal? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I journal a lot. So for me, I just try to journal every day. So as much as possible, at least during the work week, I try to open my journal, I write the day's date, and the first thing I just do my daily meditation for God first, keep Him first. So I do my daily devotional, get my thoughts out, thank Him, and I try to do this even before I start work, is just to pray and meditate and get my mind right, because He protected me from doing some crazy things at work. He protecting things and helping things get done. So that's first and foremost. So that's what I do, and I just try to journal down my thoughts and feelings. But in order to do that, to even journal down your thoughts and feelings, you need to be aware and cognizant of what's going on around you. Yeah. My beautiful wife is a teacher. I go visit her at school, and I see her struggling to teach these students. And I'm like, why they can't even pay attention to know what they said to themselves 2 seconds ago? So you got to be aware and cognizant so you can either recollect and get inside of your brain to even put on paper about what went down, or aware about how you even feel. Because if you don't, you'll start autopiloting around in life and not even knowing what's going on. So that was my process, is like really getting my thoughts down out there on paper,
really being committed to being kind to myself because I'm my own harsh critic. I treat strangers better than I treat myself. You need to love yourself because if you love yourself and you know yourself, you can be your authentic self. And your greatest gift in the world that you can give is to be authentic yourself.
Right?
Yeah,
You know what I'm
for
saying?
sure.
Like it's really, and I want to tie that back to the support system side too. Like you have a chance to go and look and see something just not going right by somebody else's standards, right? Like you know what she's trying to accomplish. Like you're right in her face, coming home, you seeing the struggles, and then you actually go and physically see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause I tell Mary all the time, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know what you're getting into with our boys, like, but there's no way that I can really understand it because I'm not in your shoes. But I try to put myself in her shoes. But like, when it comes to like what I'm doing as far as on my journey, my own personal journey outside the house, you know, trying to get the career up, trying to figure that out, like, it's a different beast from where I came from. You know what I'm saying? And I explained it a lot to people, but being in there has changed me as a person, has empowered me in a way that I never thought possible. You know, not to take away nothing that I did in the past, but I've learned so much from those 13 years that now that I'm in a different situation, I can see the difference in culture, the difference in progression, the difference in just environment, you know what I'm saying? And this allowed me to blossom into whoever I'm getting ready to be. And I'm still failing, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, people are like, you do what now? You're a senior what? I'm like, yeah, like it's crazy for me to think about that too. But those 13 years of not being able to be in that leadership type of role has taught me what a good leader should be, I think. You know, I've had some terrible leaders, and they failed in a sense, like failed me maybe, or maybe I failed myself by not realizing that quicker and saying, okay, maybe I should pivot and do something different. You know, like let me ask you this: when do you know when to step away from something?
Woo-hoo!
You know what I'm saying? Like because like honestly, that's a real big issue. Like because I'm a go getter, I'm gonna get it. Like I want to go out here and try to do my best at it, and if I'm not getting it, okay, I'm gonna keep trying. But when do you know when to say, you know what, that's it? I have to stop. Because if I keep doing this, you know, insanity, right? You know what that's about. So just anybody can answer that. I'm just curious. When do you know when to cut the ties and say, I think I've had enough. I'm just not getting this one.
And I think it's when you don't see yourself doing right, and it brings any toxicity to your life. Is when you got to drop something. When you know, I feel like you always try though. You gotta always try. Because if it's something that you care about, you're going to always go for that. It ain't like you going to make it happen.
We here now. Look at it. We here now. Something had to happen.
Anything is possible. You can always, if that's one of your goals, man, you're going to always work on that for the rest of your life. Like, that's going to be your goal to achieve what they say is impossible for you. So you're going to make it happen.
Man, but for me, I think it's time to let something go when it's mentally or emotionally not taking you towards the right direction.
That's what I think about toxicity,
for real.
When it starts becoming toxic to your life, man.
That's when it's time to let it go. And it's that, and what really makes that point out is just being alive, being cognizant, and being mindful of the present, is reading the tea leaves and seeing what's going on in your life. Man, if things aren't going right, you get into trouble, or positive things ain't happening, toxic, and that curl ain't curling right, it's just time to let that go. Sometimes that in-between phase, you can thug it out for so long. But baby girl, that hairstyle was not meant for you, boo-boo. Right. So you just gonna have to let it go. You just gotta know to change it up. So you just gotta read the tea leaves, just be able to adapt and say, you know what? If our course correct is not necessarily failing, it's me knowing that I'm making the right decision to propel me to the next destination where I need to go. And you can take those lessons you learned while taking them L's and not making the turn that you're supposed to take to be a Formula One driver of life.
So let me throw this out here.
Like that.
So let me throw this out here. This is something that I've learned, and this has been a theme. And I'm just bear with me as I go through this, man. This scenario. Like I was telling you before, like it was a project I was working, man. And this is real talk. It was a project I was working. And I mean, I'm knocking it out. Like I'm going to meet with the people I'm supposed to be meeting with. I've been there engaging with the leadership team. Like we need to do this. I mean, I'm really sticking my neck out there. Like, I'm talking about, I'm really uncomfortable. Like, I'm talking to CVPs, EVPs, bro. These are cats that are millionaires, possibly billionaires, and they've been distinguished engineers. So just, they don't care about the titles, but I do. Because I respect that shit, you know. So I have to come in there with a certain level of preparedness. And it was just one meeting that I did all this prepping, and I get in there, bro. I kid you not. I put the slide up. It was the numbers from last year, and I couldn't get the slide right. I had hidden that slide for like notes for me, but the hidden slide popped up, and the first thing they said was, "Mr. Howard, we're in 2019, sir." And I was just like, "Oh shit!" Like in my mind, I said, "Oh shit." I was like, "Okay, I'm so sorry." So what happened was they said, "Hold on, pause it for a second. It's all right. Get yourself together." No, like real talk. They was just straight up like, get yourself together. We have a lot of meeting to cover. We'll get back to you. Just go over to the side, get it situated, and come back to us. You know, let us know when you're ready. I said, wow. Like but my heart had dropped out of my chest. Now, like I was like, what's about to happen? I'm embarrassing myself. I prepped for like hours the night before. I had everything ready to go. Boom. They ain't go right. They just said, patience, son. It's okay. We get it. That's when I understood that it was a different level, that I had learned something. I had learned to not go overboard and get frazzled because something didn't go right there.
Yeah.
Like it hit me. When that leader said, look, it's okay, we get it. We see that you put the work in. Like something happens. We got a lot of meeting to cover. We wanted to get you out of the way so you can go. But it didn't happen that way. We're gonna readjust on the fly, and we're gonna take this time to give you a lesson here. Chill to the side. Let us know when you're ready.
And I think that brings into another thing, too, about going through failure and about not quitting. Despite you got hit with the Sambo.
Man.
From Showtime under the Apollo. You got hit with the Sandman, pulled me on stage. But you still had the resiliency to say, okay, I got to be patient. I got to get myself together. I can't let this affect my game. I got to still do what I need to do to show up and still do
what I need. But they gave me the opportunity, though. They gave me the opportunity. That's what I'm saying. Good leaders. They understood.
That's true.
They could see that I was not, obviously, I had prepped because they saw like all the slides. But the first slide that popped up was like 2017, 18 numbers. And we're like, whoa, KPI. I was like, I'm sorry, guys. I was just using this as a reference pretty much to look at the new numbers and give you the deviation, you know what I'm saying? So we can say how much growth we had, but it was a popping meeting. So they was like, nope, we got to get something done. So just it's okay. Go to the side, get yourself ready.
I don't want to stop you. Yeah, I don't want to cut you off, but this is probably the last thing I say. I think this stuff is so interwovenly connected, and at the same time, just that patience. You got to have patience to trust the process. Patience to know that it's about progress and not perfection. Patience to be kind to yourself and to grow and to be your ultimate self through the journey of life.
That's the steps, man.
And
you just laid it out right there. You just laid out the steps, though. You gotta, when failure happens, I mean, it's probably 2 or 3 steps if you think about it. It's gonna happen. You know, if you do anything for the first time, like I don't know who's just that cold where they can read a book for the first time and go execute it perfectly or whatever. Setting the right expectations up front helps too, though. You know, like, okay, this is something new. Like when I went to Microsoft, bro, I didn't know what I didn't know, and now I'm more, like you said, kind to myself because I'm there. That's a win. No matter what the situation, if they say, "Yo, thank you for playing. God bless you. Good night," I got a year in though. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at worst case. So I need to be in there being who I can be and not being so hard on myself because I didn't get something right the first time. And that leader showed me that. Be okay with that. Failing. And now I'm in there, let's go. You don't like what I'm saying, I get it. We can disagree, but we gotta get this work done.
You ain't with me, you against me.
Like,
Win.
And they have that mentality. They're like, how can I help you get to that next level? Because we're trying to get to that next level. And it's different leadership, man. Patience. Failure's happening all the time. You know what I'm saying?
I hear that. So, let's end it off with the question. We'll answering the definition like we talked about earlier. What is your definition of failure?
All right, you looking at me. I'll say it. Since I just finished off. I think it's setting, when you set an unrealistic expectation, and you place the blame on yourself for not beating it, right? So like just setting something up and not being able to achieve it, right? Or setting yourself up for, like I said, a goal or an outcome, and you just not being able to reach that. So not attaining something, I would say, is a failure maybe, or not being in the right state of mind, for me, is probably that. Maybe that's just a result of the failure. But, you know, I mean, I guess without going on a tangent, just trying to go in a direction, and for whatever reason not being able to get to that destination. So that's about it. I'm looking right at you. I'm not looking at the screen. So.
I'm gonna just go off what it says: omission of occurrence or performance,
Omission. Wow.
a state of inability to perform a normal function.
So normal function. See, go back to that baseline. If this unrealistic baseline you've set, that's not, by that definition, that's not normal. You didn't set that normal. Like, that's that lofty goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
People say, like, do this objective thing. Like, what is your objective? By the end of the year, my objective right now is to help baby girl build her successful child care. Bite size, by the way. Go holler at it.
That was
Yeah.
shameless self plug. It was
Hey.
smooth. Good job.
But I mean,
like
that's
it.
what it's about, though.
Hey,
Like,
for
she
real.
don't put in this work, man. I appreciate that. And with our boys, man, like some people would say, yo, if it don't happen this year, is that a failure? Hell no, it's not a failure. Like, we got the license, we ready to go. So, just speaking on that note, I'm gonna leave it at that. Set realistic goals, but set them lofty. You know what I'm saying? And if you just miss it by a little bit, you've done something. So dream big, man. That's what I'm gonna leave it at that. That's my nugget for the day right there. Just dream big. Don't be afraid to go out there and try.
And I think that's good. That's a good way to end that.
Hey.
But
Hey,
hey,
so
go ahead.
And the thing
Appreciate
is,
you.
appreciate y'all too. And I just want the failure and the success for all of us, because I get more excited when my fellas and my boys win than I win myself, because it pushes me to the next level too.
yeah, it's
And we
about the
win
circle.
together, we can party together, we can travel together, we can grow together, we can flourish together.
For real.
We can
about flourish.
splash together.
My dog.
Yeah.
Y'all, man.
All right.
Stay
Love,
blessed,
man.
bro. Stay blessed,
Hey.
bro.
Yes,
For real.
sir.